It was getting dark. A drizzle is falling. Make the space around you even more somber. It's quiet and eerie. Cold afternoon. A small alley leading to the Xie family's dilapidated house. It was as if it had fallen into darkness. Seems it has been forgotten in the vastness of the universe. Xie Heng, 23, is a fourth-year university student. Lives in an old and dilapidated house, burdened with the debt burden left by his father. Xie's father was a man with a bad reputation in the neighborhood. Past, known for its fraudulent tactics and shady behavior. Let his family live. From time to time, they are threatened by debt collection from all over the world. Many times, in the most difficult moments, Mr. Xie thought about dropping out of school, leave the classroom to earn a living. But he remained steadfast. He hopes for one day. He was not only able to change his life, and it can change the future of your family. Get rid of those long nights of fear. One rainy afternoon, when Xie was immersed in melancholy thoughts, suddenly I received an unfamiliar phone number. The caller identified herself as Mrs. Xie. Invite him to a luxurious cafe to discuss family matters. Although my heart is full of doubts and worries, Xie still decided to go to see Mrs. Xie, because in the depths of her soul, he felt that he still had some questions that he had left unanswered. When I met Miss Xie couldn't help but look at him as about 75 years old. Be surprised. He has a slender build, but well-dressed, elegant manners. Although her face has traces of age, but elaborate makeup makes her look much younger than her actual age. However, her cold eyes, but it can't hide her experience and years of hard work. Mrs. Xie sat down. Mrs. Xie didn't give her time to say hello. Get straight to the point right away. The voice is serious. You want to pay off your father's debts. Have the money to take care of your future. Isn't it either? His words left Xie speechless. Confused, no. The solution is incomprehensible. Why a complete stranger will know his predicament so well? He hesitated, and he asked who you are. Why do you know so much about my family's affairs? Miss Xie calmly replied, I have my own way. Important. I can help you. But in return, I need you to agree to one condition. What conditions? Xie Lanen asked curiously and worriedly. Mrs. Xie placed the coffee cup on the table. The eyes are cold and powerful. Xie clearly felt the seriousness of his every word. He continued softly. I live to be this age. But he has never had a husband. There are no children either. I was lonely. I want to try it out to have a human feeling. His proposal made Xie almost fall in surprise. Teaspoon in hand. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. An older woman. It can almost be seen as his mother. Want to marry him. Xie felt that the world around him was suddenly turned upside down. He couldn't understand it. Asked again, are you kidding? Why me? Mrs. Xie didn't have any expression. The face is calm as it is taken for granted. I'm not kidding, he replied. The voice is calm. It's because you're young. There is not much burden of life. There are no family or other constraints. That's why I chose you. I don't need you to really love me. All I needed was a companion. One willing to accompany me without asking questions. Someone who doesn't bother me with requests or concerns. Xie was speechless, and his heart was in chaos. Don't know how to react. Ms. Xie's words were surprising and confusing. She wanted to say no right away. But when I think of my father's debts, the debt that has weighed on his family over the years, he found himself with no choice. Feelings of guilt and helplessness make him hesitate. Finally, he said with some doubts. Then if I agreed, what will I get? Miss Xie? Still maintaining a calm attitude, as if it were just a simple deal. Your father's debts you will pay off. I will cover all your educational expenses. When I die, my property will be yours. You don't have to worry about money anymore. The conditions are tempting. But Xie still felt that something was wrong. But he couldn't deny the charm that Mrs. Xie had promised. He felt he was faced with a dangerous choice. But he couldn't afford to miss the opportunity. The next question came out of his mouth. So, what are your conditions? If I agree, what do you want me to do? Mrs. Xia did not waver. The gaze is still cold and resolute. You just have to be my husband. Live with me. Until I die. Don't betray me. Don't be with anyone else either. I will leave you all my possessions. It's as simple as that. Xia Hao stood in place. I have mixed thoughts in my head. I felt like I was in a fight. Dangerous game from which there is no escape. But when I think of my father, who has been in debt all his life, he had no choice. He looked at Mrs. Xia, the old woman. It feels like a few more years. He won't be in this world again. Xia told himself. Just exchange a few years of youth for it. Life will be peaceful later on. At least don't worry about money. He decided to take the plunge. Well, I agree. Just a few days later, a simple wedding was held. The wedding is not grand. Only a few relatives and friends participated. However, this wedding, it soon became a hot topic of discussion in the village. People can't understand it. A young man. Why bear it? Marry an old woman like Mrs. Xia. Some people think that Mrs. Xia is in it for money. Took advantage of him. Some people think that Mrs. Xia is too rich. Mr. Xia is just a greedy person. There are even some who think he was just paying off his father's debts. All the discussions end. There is no stop. But Xia could only accept his decision. Wedding night. When Xia Heng entered the house, the quiet village was suddenly filled with whispers. His new wife, Mrs. Xia, sat there. His eyes were cold and calm. There are no emotions whatsoever. You don't have to be upset. Rest assured. Stay here. You will understand my true purpose, Mrs. Xia said. This sentence sent chills down Xia Lao's spine. Suddenly, he found himself in a period of more than just complicated, and full of secret relationships that he couldn't foresee. He came from a small, dilapidated house in his hometown, walked into a spacious, well-equipped space, full of hope. A few years later, the entire property belonged to him. Although there is no shortage of material life, but he couldn't dispel the coldness in his heart, loneliness, and insecurity. Although he tried to fit in, only to find that Mrs. Xia has always maintained a distant attitude. It was as if there was an invisible wall between them, under a common roof. Except for meals or important occasions, he rarely appears. The huge villa became empty. Only a few maids were walking quietly. Xia Xing wondered why this house was so desolate, but Mrs. Xia just replied coldly that I live alone. Everyone in the family died. The children and grandchildren have settled abroad. You just need to care about your work. No need to worry about anything else. Xia didn't dare to ask anything more. But the loneliness and coldness in that answer. But it made her even more lost. Every night, Mr. Xia tried to talk to Mrs. Xia, but Mrs. Xia always avoided her. Sometimes, when she accidentally brings up her past, she felt that she was deliberately avoiding her. 3 days after the wedding, Mrs. Xia suddenly called him to the office. Place a thick stack of papers in front of him. His voice was as calm as ever. You sign here. These are related to your father's assets and debts. Legal documents. Xia Hao panicked. Didn't understand what was going on. Why does the property matter to me? My father said the debt had been paid off. Ms. Xia's expression did not change at all. Still calmly answered. I've paid it all off. But I need your signature. Let everything be legitimized. Don't be surprised. It's been that way from the beginning. Mr. Xia felt that something was wrong, but Mrs. Xia's cold eyes made him unable to refuse. Although there is uneasiness and insecurity in my heart, but he didn't dare to do anything either. I can only follow obediently. One night, at the time of dinner, Mrs. Xia suddenly mentioned his father. Your father was a talented man. He asked Xia, and Xia nodded. But the voice was a little hesitant. Yes, he's fine. But he also had mistakes. Ms. Xia smiled slightly. Wrong. His mistakes cost a lot of people. The consequences are also severe. Xia still wanted to ask again. Mrs. Xia got up and left the table. Left him with a barrage of questions. That feeling. It was like a game he couldn't understand. The longer you stay in this house, Xia, You felt like an unclear one. Vague planned pawns. Xia didn't understand. A rich and powerful person like Mrs. Xia. Why did you choose him? This is in addition to huge debts. Poor boy with nothing. Once, he secretly observed Miss Xia while she was on the phone. When it comes to fathers, her voice was sharp and full of hatred. This old man should have paid the price a long time ago. But now I'm going to let his obedient son taste the pain. This sentence was like a knife stuck in Xia's heart. He suddenly realized, this marriage is not because of love. It's not because of Mrs. Xia's loneliness. It's just a game of calculations. And he is a pawn in this game. That night, Xia couldn't sleep. There was chaos in my heart. He sat in the room. The eyes never left. The stack of documents that Mrs. Xia asked to sign. He knew if he signed, his life will forever be stuck in a game from which there is no escape. Xia began a dark conspiracy. Now he can't find a way out. The debt has been paid off, but there was no way for him to get out of this marriage, unless it comes at a high price. Originally cold and isolated villa. Now it's like an invisible prison. Imprisoned his mind and soul. Xia kept thinking whether his decision was the biggest mistake of his life or not. But anyway, he knows. In front of Xia was a road full of thorns. Dark secrets are gradually revealed. It's like a ghost appeared in the cold space of this house. After the wedding, he woke up in the big villa. There is a vague and gloomy feeling that hangs over it. Although the surrounding space is still luxurious, there is an indescribable emptiness in the heart of the light things. Undispellable. Mrs. Xia, the one she married, the man she thought would always be by her side, suddenly gone. No explanation was left. Her room was locked. There is a large envelope on the table in the living room. Next to it is a handwritten letter. It's just a provocative message. Letters in envelopes. It was the first big wave in the storm of his life. Xia opened the envelope. See that there is a series of documents inside, and huge sums of money with his name written on them. The words in the letter made him unbelievable. I don't need your love and care. This marriage, just part of the plan to avenge your father. The person you've always respected is gone. Deceived me too. On behalf of your father. Words in the letter. It's like a slap in the face of thank you. Leaves her dumbfounded. Can't believe what you've just seen. He thought it was his wife. Son, he gives him trust and love to people. It would be because of his father's mistake. And plotted revenge on him. He sat quietly. The heart is filled with sadness and anger. Father, what the hell are you going to do to suffer like this? He took the paper in his hand. Saw a huge debt he had never heard of. Feelings of fear overwhelmed me. But the phone rang. The silence was broken. A cold voice came from the other end of the phone. Mr. Xia, it's time to pay the debt. If you don't return it quickly, don't blame us. Xia tried to stay calm, but the voice continued. You are Mrs. Xia's legal husband. Have you carefully read the documents left by Mrs. Xia? These words were like a punch to Xia's heart. He remembers the first day he returned to the villa. Mrs. Xia gave him a piece of paper to sign. But I don't know. I accidentally incurred a huge debt. Xia had no choice. Decided to investigate his father's past. He returned to the village. Meet old acquaintances. Ask your neighbors for news. Look for old literature. Conversation. Gradually uncover his dark secrets that no one knows. Xia found out that his father used to be a real estate developer, but fell into a big scam, exploiting the trust of Mrs. Xia and her family to embezzle assets. This led to the sale of all of Ms. Xia's assets. Falling into poverty. Neighbors were called. Xia's father lived in luxury, but because of his deceitful behavior and cruel methods, nobody likes him. Xia felt his face was slapped hard. He didn't understand. Why should he suffer the consequences of his father's mistakes? When checking debt documents, Xia discovered a number of anomalies. Some of the documents have his signature, but the date is incorrect. It was even signed before he met Ms. Xia. These signs made Mr. Xia suspicious. He decided to ask a lawyer friend to verify. His friend looked at the files and commented that there are many here. Projects are not legal. It seems that someone made the file on purpose to get you into trouble. Ms. Xia was shocked. Can't believe it. Ms. Xia is behind these conspiracies. His friend went on to say that it was unlikely. But if Ms. Xia has ever been deceived, maybe he wanted to take revenge like this. The feeling of being betrayed left Xia confused. Don't know what to do to get out of the situation. Contradictions and lies make things more than ever are more complex. Mrs. Xia couldn't help but be suspicious. Whether Mrs. Xia is just a person seeking revenge, or maybe she's just one she can't see clearly. Victims of a larger conspiracy. Gradually, Xia realized the struggles she faced. It's not just debts or family relationships. Rather, it was dark calculations and intrigues that she could not yet foresee. The truth about the internet is gradually emerging. Xia understood if he wanted to escape this nightmare, you can only find out who is behind it. Otherwise, you will be stuck in a dangerous game forever. And there is no way out. Sure, Xia, the real mastermind behind all the conspiracies that are in trouble. It was his uncle, Mr. Lin. After a series of tense and intense conversations, Mr. Lin contacted Mr. Duan, an old friend of Xia Fu. He has worked with Xia Fu for many years. It was in this meeting Mr. Duan revealed information that shocked Xia. After your mother's death, your father and Uncle Lin, a fierce property dispute arose. Uncle Lin thinks his father owned most of the family's assets, and when he can't take back his share, and he was resentful, wait for the opportunity to take revenge. This sentence surprised Xia Hao. He couldn't have imagined it. It's all there. It's all related to Mrs. Xia, who he thinks is the enemy. Mr. Duan went on to explain. It was Mr. Lin who took advantage of Ms. Xia's hatred, turned him into his plan to take revenge on Xia's father. Tools, and now he continued to be involved with him. When Ms. Xia was confused, when attempting to verify this information, Ms. Xia suddenly came back with a completely different attitude, no longer as cold and tough as it used to be. She had a strange calm now, even a little remorseful. She said, it wasn't right for me to treat you like that in the beginning. I just want you to go through the pain I've been through. Hopefully you will pay for what your father did. But when I see you, I find out that you are no longer my father. I can't continue with this plan any longer. Mrs. Xia's words, it's like a blow to the heart of things. She was angry and heartbroken. Don't understand. Why did he put her in such a miserable situation? Why are you putting me in such a big debt? Let me fall into this trap. How are you going to help me? Xia asked angrily. Mrs. Xia sighed. Gently say, I know I'm wrong, but I didn't make those debts. It's your Uncle Lin's family. I'm here to help you escape this trap. Miss Xia revealed. She found out that Mr. Lin was behind it. Fake documents were provided to him. Make him believe that Mr. Xia is the target of a quick rich. With this evidence, he decided to work with Mr. Xia. Tell the truth. Xia and Ms. Xia began the task of collecting evidence, uncovered every shady curtain of Mr. Lin. They found out false financial documents relating to Mr. Lam, and a deal. They then decided to confront Mr. Lin directly. In a closed-door meeting. Thank you, Chi can't keep restraint. He angrily asked, what did you do to my family? Why don't you let me go? Mr. Lin smiled faintly. The tone was full of contempt and let go. Your father deserves it. As for you, you are the son of the man who took everything from me. Xia clenched his fists and said, my father was wrong. You pushed me here. Traps. You are using Mrs. Xia to harm me. Don't you know you're a bad person? In the face of Mr. Xia's harsh confrontation, Mr. Lin tried to leave, but Ms. Xia interrupted him. Mr. Lin, I used to believe in you. I thought you were just trying to get justice. But it turns out you're wrong. I'm not going to let you continue to do bad things. Ms. Xia and Ms. Xia had the evidence. Bring the case to light. Mr. Lim was eventually convicted of forging documents, arrested for fraud and assault on Mr. Xia, with the help of Ms. Xia and the resolute investigation by the police. Xia was not only acquitted, and also the restoration of reputation. The huge debt he owes It turned out to be illegal. Was completely cancelled personally. Thank you for keeping your head down. Don't be angry with him anymore. I just feel like I need to live better. The mistakes of the family should not be repeated. After being acquitted and getting rid of the debt burden, Sia decided to start her life anew. She gave up looking for a shortcut to riches or avoid difficult fantasies. Sia decided to go through the divorce procedures with Ms. Sia. Go back to university to continue your studies. Complete an incomplete study plan. Meantime, he also began to do more work to support himself. Thank you for working from morning till night every day. I work part-time jobs such as cafe service, tutoring, and delivery. He is no longer afraid of difficulties and pain. It's about remembering the precious lessons of the past at all times. Although there was no direct interference in Mr. Sia's life. But Mrs. Sia, still silently following Mr. Sia's every step. He helped him in ways that Sia didn't know. For example, through funds to support underprivileged students, to fund his tuition, or ask an acquaintance to tell him about scholarship opportunities. Sia Wanwan didn't expect it. Own life. It will change because of an unexpected encounter. It all started with the principal informed Sia, a special scholarship he never thought of. He said there was one. The sponsor wanted to fund Mr. Sia's tuition. But the only condition is that the identity of the person cannot be revealed. Mr. Sia couldn't help but have some doubts in his heart. He couldn't help but think. Mrs. Sia, who helped him a lot back then. It may be the one behind it. The headmaster looked at him tenderly. Say, I can't reveal your identity. But this person believes that you deserve this help. Sia didn't say anything, but he felt it in his heart. Mrs. Sia's great trust. He was always there for him in difficult times. However, he did not thank her directly. Instead, they chose silence. And determined to go the extra mile. To prove that everything he got was what he deserved. Despite the many challenges and pains that have been experienced, Sia gradually realized, no matter how brutal the truth, it is always necessary to face it. Running away will only make you weaker. Facing the truth will help you grow. Get stronger. Sia knew that he could not change his father's past, but he could completely change his father's way of life. Be a trustworthy person. He realized. Live responsibly for yourself and society. It's the only way to start over. This is what Mrs. Sia taught him. From him. Thank you for knowing that hatred can blind people. And tolerance and kindness. It will bring true peace after the injury. Mr. Sia and Mrs. Sia's relationship gradually became closer. He often visited her, chat, and share what he's doing. The relationship between them is no longer just that of a teacher and a student. Rather, it became a sincere friendship. Every time Mrs. Sia came to visit, did not hesitate to tease him. Also delicately called him her husband. Someday, when Sia came to visit him with a small bouquet of flowers, he smiled kindly. Sia told him that you had told me. I don't need to do anything to atone for my father's sins. Now I see what you mean. But I want to do the right thing. Love to make up for the mistakes of my life. Mrs. Sia smiled softly and said to Mr. Sia, you're doing a great job. I am sure that you will have a great future. Mr. Sia's life has never been easy. But he always understood. Cherish every opportunity one have. He understood the challenges and hardships that have been overcome along the way. It was he who grew and exercised his courage, a solid foundation for becoming an ethical person. After years of tireless study and work, thank you for graduating from law school. Become a talented lawyer. However, Sia didn't look for an easy and enriching path. Instead, it was decided that she would do everything in her power to help the weak. Help those who have suffered injustice. People who deceive and oppress. This is the Mrs. Sia he has always loved deeply. A lifetime of having to endure. Mr. Sia opened a small law firm, stemming from his belief in justice and compassion. Mrs. Sia, the woman who once carried the fire of hatred on her back. It's been completely changed. Under the embrace and careful care of Sia, he found it for years. Peace and tranquility like never before. A quiet afternoon. The two sat at the table and drank tea. in the soft afternoon sun. Xiahao said slowly, "Grandma, it taught me a valuable lesson. There is nothing more precious than living well." "Thank you." Mrs. Xia smiled. The eyes sparkled with happiness. "You made me understand. Forgiveness is not only liberating for others, it is also the liberation of oneself." Xia understands that only by daring to face his own mistakes, instead of hiding, we can truly grow. In order to live a meaningful life. In the past, Ms. Xia and Ms. Xia, all of them have suffered deep psychological trauma. But it is their perseverance and determination to change, helped them find the light, and guided their lives. Hatred can make us feel strong for a while, but in reality it only makes us more miserable. Blur the peace of our souls. At the same time, forgiveness and the courage to face the truth. It is the key that opens the door to liberation. Help us to overcome all the pain. Embark on the path to true happiness. Through the journey of Mr. and Mrs. Tsai, we recognize love and kindness are not only beautiful values, it is also a hidden force. Help us overcome our challenges, build a better and better life. Although life can be full of difficulties and obstacles, but kindness and sharing always lead to miracles. Help us regain faith in life. Ms. Xia's large villa. Now it's no longer just a place to live. It's about becoming love, a living symbol of unity and kindness. In the warm afternoon sun, Miss Xia and Mrs. Xia sat and chatted. The eyes sparkled with joy, a simple yet profound proof of happiness. Sincere love is the most important thing in life. We thank you for your attention to this touching story. Through the journey of Mr. and Mrs. Tsai, we learned forgiveness and kindness. It is the most important factor in opening the door to happiness. Thank you for watching today. If you find the video interesting, please subscribe, like, and comment. I will try to bring you more good works.